All right. I'd like to call this meeting in order. This is a special meeting of the Flagler Beach City Commission sitting as a community redevelopment agency. Today is Thursday, September 23rd. It is 4:46. We're starting a minute late. And Mayor, can you start us with the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first item on the agenda, we have approved the minutes for August 19th, 2021. Has everybody received a copy, and is there any questions?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion passes. Resolution 2021-26, Drew.
Resolution 2021-26, a resolution by the City Commission of the City of Flagler Beach, Florida. Resolution by the City Commission of the City of Flagler Beach, Florida, sitting as the Community Redevelopment Agency, approving the fiscal year 2021-2022 budget for the Community Redevelopment Agency, fixing appropriations therein, proposing expenditures thereunder, and determining an effective date.
Thank you, Drew.
Your audio is streaming, but no video.
Okay, thank you, Penny. And everybody has a copy of this. City Manager, did you have anything you wanted to cover on this?
No, sir, just a few highlights for the CRA next year. We are going to be bringing back the director position, and we are also allocating a portion of our maintenance budget to increase the level of maintenance in the city to the CRA. And then we are also going to work on a grants program. And so the rules of that and the timing of that would probably be next quarter, probably into 2022, probably I would say around the summer timeframe. So to make those funds available to people. So those are the highlights of the budget and what we're going to be doing differently next year than we did this year.
Okay, and Kathleen, did you have anything you wanted to cover? No? Drew, you look like you had some for a minute there. No? All right, commissioners or mayor, questions or comments?
Motion to approve resolution 2021-26.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I'll open this up for public comment. Any members of the public wish to speak on this agenda item, resolution 2021-26? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Penny, if you could roll call.
Commissioner Bryan? Yes. Commissioner Bellhumeur?
Yes.
Commissioner Mealy?
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips?
Yes.
Chair Cooley?
Yes, the motion. Motion passes unanimous. And item 5 is adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We are adjourned.
Oh, that was tough.
And we have an 11-minute break.
Not bad.
Make,
I was going to say,
Make all the
that
meetings-
might actually be a record.
make all
There
of me.
was one meeting that was very fast. It was like 3 years ago that we were out of here by like, actually, I think we had to wait. With them. No, just the.
I don't remember
just
many
started
quick
the-
ones.
Sharon O'Brien said 37 minutes for a regular meeting.
Really?
Wow.
Really?
Was Sharon O'Brien being the?
Of course.
She was a trip.
Flagler Beach City Commission. Today is Thursday, September 23rd. It is 5:01. This meeting will be continued until all items are complete. Mayor, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Resolution 2021-22. Drew?
Resolution 2021-22, a resolution of the City of Flagler Beach, Florida, levying the ad valorem property tax millage rate for municipal purposes on all taxable property within the city for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2021, and ending September 30th, 2022, stating the millage to be levied is 5.4200 in Flagler County and 5.4200 is the rate to be levied for Volusia County, and providing an effective date. Again, just a reminder that 5.4200 mill rate represents an increase of, Kathleen, what is it, over
9.34%.
your rollback rate?
Okay, thank you, Drew. City Manager, do you have any comments on this?
No, sir, we've had multiple meetings and workshops, and staff is recommending adoption.
Commissioners or Mayor, any questions or comments? Final reading.
To approve.
All right.
Okay, motion to
Second.
approve resolution 2021-22.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second. I'll open this up for public comment. Any members of the public wish to speak on Resolution 2021-22? Adam, you don't want to? All right, seeing none, we'll close public comment. Penny, if you could roll call, please.
Commissioner Bellheimer,
Yes.
Commissioner Mealy,
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan.
Yes.
Chair Cooley.
Yes to the motion. Motion passes unanimous. Item 4, Resolution 2021-23. Drew?
Resolution 2021-23, a resolution by the City Commission of the City of Flagler Beach, Florida, adopting budgets for the General Fund, Utility Fund, Sanitation Fund, Stormwater Fund, CRA Fund, Peer Enterprise Fund, and Building Code Inspection Fund for the fiscal year 2021-2022, fixing appropriations therein, proposing expenditures thereunder, and determining the amount of money to be raised by taxation and providing an effective date hereof.
All right. City Manager, any comments?
No, sir. Again, we've had multiple workshops and meetings. The staff will be working to produce a fact sheet that will be posted on our website outlining the changes in terms of what we will be accomplishing with the budget in the new year per the direction of the commission.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners or Mayor, any questions or comments? Nothing. Look for motion.
Motion to approve, excuse me, resolution 2021-23.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I'll open this up to public comment. Any members of the public wish to speak on Resolution 2021-23? Adam? Had to. Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comment. Penny, if you could roll call.
Commissioner Mealy,
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan.
Yes.
Commissioner Bellheimer,
No.
Chair Cooley.
Yes to the motion. Motion passes 4-1. And item 5 is adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We are adjourned. Just turn your microphones off.
Don't tip me.
Just for the record,
Okay, I don't think.
Let me just type in his name. Type in his name and it comes up with a phone number. But of course, it's a machine. Right. So I say who I am on it. Go in, I'm like, I'm going to City Hall and phone her. Oh, look at that, it's him. Oh, that's funny. I go, hey. That's how I usually It's an ogre. Yeah. It's a really big one.
Like Phil all the time. Our house is there. We've had it since the 80s. Yeah. Even on the other side of the street.
It wasn't as expensive as I thought.
No. If I could save up the money, I'd put a lot behind us. But
yeah, the first stop you get towards the first down there.
yeah, I always had to bring flood insurance this year. Yeah, sure. The option this year was like $500. You gotta have it.
Yeah. Well, they proved it. The one that did one, you saw they did 19th Street.
Yeah.
They got the skid steer they were using was like long sundown. Oh, God. So I was like, okay, so I saw him yesterday. Hey, I guess it's on the list, we'll either do it today or tomorrow. So listen, there is no sense in you going out there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You're not humidity.
No.
I said, listen, the commission meeting's tomorrow, I just want to get it done so I can email. I said, I know you're going to be at the meeting.
Yeah.
And he goes, we come in at 7 o'clock, we'll get everything fired up, we'll go down there. I went down there at like 10 o'clock and they already cleared it all the way down.
Well, I really appreciate it. Yeah,
That's the problem. It's just, let's see if you don't have stuff on.
right. Yeah.
Sometimes we see stuff and we don't really see it because we stay used to this. 20 years.
See, I grew up down there. It's funny. I grew up with his daughter Becky and Brian. You know, Brian's a cop in South Daytona. So I grew up in South Daytona. So Teddy was our neighbor.
My grandfather was a chief in the 60s.
Oh, really? I lived off of in Lincoln Park.
You lived one development left. I lived in Oakville Village.
Oh, did you? Oh, yeah. We used to go there and play at Wagner Park and stuff as a kid. And my parents, we
somebody pulls up the YouTube stream, it'll just be a black screen with the audio playing?
Right, and then I have a note down the bottom explaining what happened.
All right, ready to go?
Ready?
All right, this is the regular meeting of the Flagler Beach City Commission. Today is Thursday, September 23rd. It is 5:30. This meeting will be continued until all items are complete. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Mayor, if you could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll follow that by a moment of silence to honor our veterans, members of the armed forces, and first responders.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, a little bit of housekeeping. If everybody could take a look at their cell phones, make sure they are powered off, on silent, or vibrate. And Mayor, you have a couple proclamations and awards to do.
Tonight, we have we have one proclamation and one award, and both of these are very near and dear to my heart. We'll start with the John and, yes, Elaine. Advent Health. It is the 2021 Breast Cancer Awareness Raise the Pink Flag Proclamation. Whereas October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and whereas the Advent Health Palm Coast Foundation is once again bringing awareness to breast cancer throughout the month of October, and whereas breast cancer is the most frequently diagnosed cancer in women, with an estimated 281,550 new cases of invasive cancer are expected in women this year, and 2,650 new cases of invasive breast cancer are expected to be diagnosed in men, ranking it second among all cancer deaths. And whereas only 1 in 8 women diagnosed with breast cancer have a family history, and 85% have no family history, with an increase in incidence rates since 1990 being predominantly in women 50 years and older. And whereas early detection with timely screening mammograms has helped to boost the breast cancer survivor rate to more than 2.6 million in the United States, also resulting in a 40% decline in mortality since 1989. Whereas Advent Health's Palm Coast Pink Army, with the support of our community, has distributed over $150,000, helped over 600 patients, and performed hundreds of procedures in direct support to Flagler County men and women dealing with breast cancer. And whereas the City of Flagler Beach and Advent Health Palm Coast will raise the pink flag on this 20th day of September 2021 in Veterans Memorial Park. Now therefore, I myself, Susie Johnston, Mayor of the City of Flagler Beach, do hereby proclaim the City of Flagler Beach raised the pink flag to encourage its residents to their awareness of breast cancer and the importance of screening mammograms. Yeah, I have 100.
Thank you, Mayor, and once again, Commissioners, Flagler Beach, thank you so much for allowing us to be here and talk about breast cancer and our campaign, the Pink Army campaign. And it's been going on for just over 10 years now. As the proclamation said, we distributed $150,000 or so, over 600 patients and over 1,000 procedures. Just in 2016 or in 2021 this year, we have seen 16 patients and taken care of 22 procedures. Most of those patients are referred to the hospital and through our imaging and women's center through the Flagler County Free Clinic. So we don't know a lot about them, but I feel assured we're saving some lives through this. And the Pink Army campaign not only is awareness, but it's a fundraising campaign throughout the community to raise dollars that go back into that bucket to be distributed to help our Flagler County women. So it's a wonderful thing. We, as Commissioner Cooley asked earlier, we're going to have our live run, Pink Army Run, which, we have 1,500 people over at the hospital, and we're going to go virtual again this year, and it's Pink On Parade. Advent Health and all the Advent Healths around the country are running a Pink On Parade the same time on October 10th. And so a lot of money and awareness throughout the country will be on breast cancer. But we look forward to bringing our run back in 2022. So I thank you guys for allowing us to be here. And if I can give a shout out to one of your business owners, Carla Klein. And if you're not aware of what this young lady has done for our hospital, it's outside of breast cancer, but she raised over $20,000 by $20 gift cards to go to every employee in the hospital. And she was amazing and has really, these cards came to all the employees, all 1,200 employees, and each department head got their stack of 50, 60, 80, however many, and they distributed them. But it was like Christmas because every gift card was a different gift card, and many of them were from Flagler Beach. And actually, I got one from Taco Shop, and I saw one of our employees right at the raw, right there. I said, "Are you using one of your certificates?" And she said, "Thumbs up." So Flagler Beach and Carla Klein, and I would like to bring Carla back one time and recognize her in front of you guys because she is amazing. So anyways, can I ask for a picture with the commissioners? I have a wall of these things at home, so we can do one more for this year, but thank you so much.
I'd also like to add something with John giving back so much to our community. One year I was working with the Pink Army directly, and I was fundraising here in Flagler Beach, and I had asked a local business if they could please donate some gift certificates for a Pink Army auction. And she was asking some questions, and she said, "Oh my gosh, that is what my mom had received from the Pink Army to help take care of all of her bills for breast cancer." So the Pink Army, you really directly impacted one of the residents here in Flagler Beach, and they said that it was just like winning the lottery. It changed their life. So thank you.
Nice to hear those stories. All right, picture time.
I can hold this, or even okay.
Oh, they got this
I
down.
got this down pat, don't
You're not showing your pink shirt.
It's there.
Some part of it.
Not as pink as mine, Rick. All right, great. Thank you all very much.
Can't see it anyway. Big head in front of it.
All right, you got one more, Mayor.
All right, and we have one more. We have a certificate of appreciation for Adam Morley. Come on up, Adam. This guy right here, Eric said it earlier, he is the real deal. Adam helps clean up the intercoastal waterways via boat. He has a vessel called the Litter Getter. He has cleaned the waterways so well in St. Johns County that they're clean. He's have to come down here and clean up garbage. I don't know if, have you guys ever seen his post that he's put on Facebook with the yellow boat? It's a great experience. He gives really fun jokes and puns and teaches you a lot about our ecosystems while you're out on the boat getting the different trash. You feel like it's like fishing, but instead you're fishing for plastic and cans, and you can find some really cool treasures like a computer we've seen before. So Adam, thank you so much. You give back. You're so thoughtful, and you never think of something that can't be done or a challenge that's too big. You tackle it all. So thank you.
Now, it's not going to be a speech, but I was asked for a quick pun, and I decided that I would do what I can. So I literally thought this was going to be a solid waste of time, but Commissioner Cooley, you are doing a chair-rific job running this meeting, and that may or may not be the city meeting pun you were looking for, but I'll leave it to the board to vote it up or down. Thank you.
Wow.
Come, let's get a picture.
That was really good.
Adam, let's get a picture.
Yeah, let's get a picture of it. That was very good.
He's also selling a card game with all those fun puns.
So Adam, just a question. When can we see you in town again? Well, consider it officially requested. Yeah, it's always a treat having you here. And while we do regular beach cleanups, the intercoastal is definitely suffering from neglect. And depending on the tide, you know, we can go in at high tide and get to a lot of areas that we're not able to get to. It would be great. All right. And that's it for you, Mayor? That's it. All right, deletions and changes to the agenda. I have a request for item 8 to be removed. Commissioners, Mayor, staff, is there any other changes to agenda?
Not that I'm aware of.
All right, so we're going to pull item 8 out. All right, and then we'll move right on to public comment. These are comments regarding items that are not on the agenda. Citizens are encouraged to speak. However, comments should be limited to 3 minutes. And just some housekeeping on that. We just request that there's no clapping or no booing or anything from the audience. Everybody can speak freely. So any members of the public wish to speak at public comment? Come on up, Kathy. You can start with your name and address, please.
Hi, I'm Kathy Wilcox, Director of the Flagler Beach Historical Museum. And this month, we celebrate our 20th anniversary. And I wanted to thank all the present and past city commissioners and city managers for the support over the years, not only financially, but physically, literally in the building here. So thank you on behalf of all of us. And then I also wanted to update you on the amount of money that we raised from the auction of the pier letters that came down from the pier. We raised $4,900 just from the auction of the pier letters, which is great. We're still tallying up all the final numbers from Moondance last Thursday. We had over 200 people. We had a great turnout, but I do know that I can say it's one of the most profitable fall fundraisers that we've had in the 20 years. So again, many thanks to y'all again for the 20 years of help. Penny hears from me all the time, and hopefully we'll continue to do this another 20 years. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kathy. All right. Anybody else wish to speak under public comment? Maybe Kim, please start with your name and address.
Good evening. I'm Nancy Shelton. I live at 1336 North Daytona. This is my third time up at the podium with the same topic. I've attended 2 recent Flagler Beach City Commission meetings requesting the beach renourishment project include ongoing research identifying all effects on the natural environment, the document the changes to what currently exists on the shoreline. Twice I was told that the Army Corps of Engineers has done their research to make sure that there will be no negative effects to the natural fauna and flora. At the last meeting, I was directed to the Shore Up the Shore website for additional information, which incidentally I had already read previous to coming to this podium, even the first time. Additionally, the presenter stated that the sand source has been located. That was a quote. However, no additional information was given about that sand source. I feel the short time that I have to address this issue has prevented people from understanding my concern and my request. Therefore, I am again requesting information. I am not arguing for or against the project. I am sure the Army Corps of Engineers has completed research to prepare for this project. My concern is not the research that has been done prior to the project commencement, but that it is done during and after the project. Anyone who knows the history of the environment of Florida knows that the Army Corps of Engineers has done a lot of research, approved a lot of projects, and has, and many of those projects have resulted in the devastation of our state from the Georgia line to the Keys. So the Shore Up the Shore website assures readers that the turtle population will be protected during the project, and it states, quote, additionally, another environmental group will start monitoring other local wildlife, including shorebirds, once construction operations start, end quote. I am requesting specific and accurate information that elaborates what this monitoring is, how the data will be collected and analyzed, how often the public will be informed of the findings, and the intended use of the monitoring that is already planned. Is this an actual research proposal / project that scientifically studies what changes occur and how they impact the environment? I am specifically concerned about information about sand mass density. Finally, please disclose exactly where the sand source is, including the characteristics of the sand in the sand source. And as an aside, I've been walking this beach on a very regular basis for 3 years. The sand that was brought in, we all know, I'm not going to rehash mistakes, that the sand that was put on the north side of Flagler Beach was the white sand that did not match our sand. And I have walked and noticed that there is a significant difference in the compactness of the sand and the softness of the sand all the way down the beach near where I live. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Commissioners and Mayor, like we talked about the last meeting, we're going to wait till the end of public comment to comment on anything. Anybody else wish to speak under public comment? Anything not on the agenda? Nobody? All right, we'll close public comment. To address the last comment we had, there's two avenues to get that information. First thing is, Al offered to be contacted directly. So Nancy, if you'd like to get Al's contact info from Penny, you're welcome to, but Al welcomed a direct discussion.
I've sent an email.
Okay. So you're more than welcome to reach out to him. You can also do a public info request with the county. This is a county project, and they have all of that information. And if you submit a public information request, they are obligated to respond with that in a reasonable fashion. But honestly, Al is very open and is more than willing to talk with just about anybody. I would probably recommend reaching out direct with phone versus email. That would probably be the best means to speak with him, as he talks to a lot of residents here. Commissioners, Mayor, yes, Jane?
Yeah. Sorry, thank you. Jason Hara from the Army Corps is the guy that we were working with for years. Do you think that it would be a good idea to have Nancy contact him as far as the study goes?
No.
I mean, we have since 2001 worth of information, so.
Yeah, my recommendation is to work through the county, and I do know a little bit about this process, and they would have had to, having expended federal dollars on this, completed a full National Environmental Policy Act study, a NEPA study, which is usually, I used to work in Washington, and my boss reviewed all the NEPA studies across the nation, and I saw many of them. They were like yay thick. So that information no doubt exists, and I'm sure the county has a copy of it. And beyond that, during the process, as you indicated, Mr. Chairman, it's often, even after the permit is granted to go forward, there are often monitoring processes in place. And, you know, maybe we need to have Al on his next visit kind of brief everyone on what those processes are and who those groups are. Because I know that the state and the federal agencies that deal with wildlife and environmental quality, water quality, I mean, it's multiple agencies involved, are all monitoring this situation. Even though you don't hear from people, that's what their jobs are, is to sit back and monitor these things and make sure they're done right. That having said, I'm not saying that there haven't been mistakes made in the past by agencies, but our responsibility is to kind of keep that information out there and kind of hold them accountable. And to the extent we can interact with the county and follow up on those things, I think those are great, because I know all of those things exist and I know how that process all works.
They do exist. Some of us that have been on commission for a little while, many years ago, went to we'll call it like a kickoff meeting over at county, and we were presented with scores of information on all the studies that were done, how they came about to determine what sand to use, the rationale, all the scientific methods, all the gatekeepers and the folks who are going to maintain it. They did that for the sole intent of just being open and also to gain the buy-in of the leadership of the city of Flagler Beach.
And also included samples of sand.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there's actually little bags of sand that you can get. And there was a workshop that I specifically went to when I first came here, where the county commission was briefed and they discussed all those items. So there's minutes of that workshop and probably some sort of audio or visual record of that workshop with all that information. So, and I believe that workshop took place in June. Commissioner, I was trying to remember, you and Jane and I went, so it seemed like it was in the June timeframe. So we'll be happy to help you, find that information.
June, about 3 to 4 years ago.
Yeah.
No,
And
so
well, the
this year-
kickoff meeting was, but I was
Okay.
talking about there's been a recent workshop that I actually attended that they actually spoke about where the sand was, what the source was, all of those questions.
Okay.
Can I just make a comment?
No, Nancy, we closed public comment, but you're more than welcome to reach out to William directly if you'd like. But I know that there's a lot of information out there. We were on information overload when I came down because
I have a box. like
yeah,
this.
it's a huge amount of material that we got for that on, because the Army Corps does not mess around with documentation or anything like that. So it's all very well documented. Okay. Item 6, approve regular meeting minutes. Well, let's go to consent agenda. We have meeting minutes from September 9th, 2021, and the special meeting minutes of September 9th, 2021. And then we have a one-year contract that Liz has. Do we have any, is there anything that needs pulled? Nothing needs pulled?
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as it is.
All right, we have a motion and a second for consent agenda as is. Any members of the public wish to speak on the items that are part of consent agenda? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. All in favor, approve? Did you have
To
something?
get back to William's thing, the workshop, William, was May 20th,
Oh, okay.
right after you came.
Oh, it was right after I came, so it wasn't even June. Okay, all right. May 20th.
All right, all in favor of approving consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, consent agenda passes unanimous. General business, resolution 2021-25. Drew?
Resolution 2021-25, a resolution by the City Commission of the City of Flagler Beach, Florida, amending Resolution 2020-28, which adopted the fiscal year 2020-2021 budget, to reflect a budget amendment, providing for conflict, providing an effective date hereof.
All right, and city manager, is that you or is that going to be Kathleen?
Well, I'll take it if you have softball questions, but the details would go to Kathleen. And I did talk with every commissioner before the meeting and tried to respond to questions as they were brought up.
All right, Commissioners and Mayor, any comments or questions on Resolution 2021-25?
My questions were answered.
Okay. We'll look for a motion then.
Motion to approve Resolution 2021-25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Open this up, public comment. Any members of the public wish to speak on Resolution 2021-25? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Penny, if you could roll call.
Commissioner Phillips?
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan?
Yes.
Commissioner Belhumer?
Yes.
Commissioner Mealy?
Yes.
Chair Cooley?
Yes, the motion. Motion passes unanimous. Item 10, Resolution 2021-27. Drew?
Resolution 2021-27, a resolution by the City of Flagler Beach, Florida, amending Resolution 2021-21, Section 2, amending the city manager's role on the committee from ex officio to staff liaison to the committee, providing for conflict and an effective date.
All right, and this is more administrative and procedural. City Manager, do you have any additional comments on it?
I don't. It basically is a clarification under the Sunshine Law that would allow me to interact with the committee by changing my status. So basically, this would be more procedurally correct than the original resolution.
True.
I was just going to expound on that being an ex officio member binds him to Sunshine Law requirements, which actually impacts his ability to assist that board. So that's why we're changing that role to liaison. So he'll still attend the meetings, but he will not be a member of that board.
It makes perfect sense. We would rather you not be handcuffed in helping that group. Any other comments or questions on Resolution 2021-27? Look for motion.
I'll make a
Go ahead.
motion to approve Resolution 2021-27.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to open this up, public comment. Any members of the public wish to speak on Resolution 2021-27? Seeing no one, close public comment. Penny, if you could roll call.
Commissioner Bryan?
Yes.
Commissioner Belhumer?
Yes.
Commissioner Mealy?
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips?
Yes.
Chair Cooley?
Yes, the motion. Motion passes unanimous. Item 11, Resolution 2021-28. Drew?
Resolution 2021-28, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Flagler Beach, Florida, approving and authorizing to join with the state of Florida and other local governmental units as participant in the Florida Memorandum of Understanding and formal agreements implementing a unified plan and providing an effective date.
All right, and Drew, this is your item.
It is, and so I've been working with Mr. Hadid from the county, and if you've been following it at all, you know the opioid litigation that's been ongoing, and the Attorney General has announced that they are working towards settlement with some of the companies, and they have presented this MOU, and the resolution actually comes from the State Attorney General's office, encouraging local jurisdictions to join in with this. They think it will give them the most bargaining leverage. And when Al circulated it to the cities, I know the county is kind of taking a little bit of a lead on this, as money will flow through them, and they have the largest impact because of the size and impacts within the regional impacts. I asked Al, what's the most help to the county? And he said, us joining in on this will give them, the county, more leverage in giving the state more leverage. Because the little jurisdictions, our impacts are so small, it's only when you accumulate everything that it really starts to have that leverage that everybody's looking for.
Okay, any questions for Drew? Jane?
It's more by way of trying to understand this. All right, the pages aren't numbered. So, under definitions, number 5. It says municipalities shall mean cities, towns, blah, blah, of a county within the state with a population greater than 10,000, and shall also include cities, towns, villages within the state with a population equal to or less than 10,000, which filed a complaint in the litigation. Now, we, as far as I know...
But we did not opt out of the class, so we are a part of that class of municipalities that technically did.
Okay. So...
Hey, remember, we had that discussion, I don't know, 18 months, 2 years ago, when we had the opportunity to opt out, and I don't opt out, there's no reason to. We're not going to file our own complaint.
Okay. So then we are qualified to be part of that, okay? And then number 15 says qualified county shall mean a charter or non-chartered county with a population of at least 300,000 with an opioid task force, blah, blah, blah. Enters into an agreement with a majority of municipalities. The majority is more than 50% of the municipality's total population related to the expenditure of opioid funds. Opioid funds to be paid to a qualified county will only include opioid funds for municipalities whose claims are released by the municipality. So again, is this because we didn't?
That's not the same thing, but that's the funds go to the county because the county can make the most use of the dollars. So it's giving it's not giving the county money that the municipalities are claiming. So it's related, similar to, we're not fighting for those dollars.
All right.
And that is what that's talking about, but it's not quite the same as what we were talking about in the last definition.
Okay.
If the cities are trying to get those dollars for their own city, it's not going to go to the county. But again, for the same reason I just said, the dollar figures are so small for the small jurisdictions, it's not a dollar figure we could even do anything with. So funneling it into the county where the county can accumulate all of those dollars and do something to accomplish something is the idea.
Okay, thank you. I think that was it. That was it.
That's it? Okay. Any other comments or questions for Drew? None? All right, look for motion.
Motion to approve resolution 2021-28.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I'll open this up, public comment. Any members of the public wish to speak on resolution 2021-28? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Penny, if you could roll call.
Commissioner Belhumeur,
Yes.
Commissioner Mealy,
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Chair Cooley.
Yes, the motion. Motion passes unanimous. And we are okay on time for public hearings. All right. Item 13, ordinance 2021-11. Drew?
Ordinance 2021-11, an ordinance of the City of Flagler Beach, Florida, approving the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Flagler Beach, Florida and the International Union of Police Associations for the period October 1, 2021 through September 30th, 2024, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. And before, if you don't mind, before you start your discussion, I have had 2 Scrivener's errors pointed out to me. On page 43. Step 5, when you get there.
We're good.
The first 6 words, the city and the employee of IUPA, that second, or that first of, the city and the employee and IUPA shall mutually agree. Since the employee it's referencing is our employee, not an employee of IUPA, it's just IUPA also has a say there.
Yeah, that was one of the things I picked up.
You told me about it. And the second one is on page 55. And it's section 36.5. The 1770 an hour beginning 1 October 2021, not 2015. That was it.
All right, thank you, Drew. And city manager, to keep this a little bit easier, did you want to cover changes?
I would defer to the chief because there's history going back to, the previous agreement. From my point of view, the largest change that will be the most beneficial is the 20 year and out provision for the retirement. That allows us to, I think, better recruit. And it also will actually, we think, help save us money because the way the pension works, it's the highest 3 that you calculate the pension amount on. And basically, people tend to have that high 3 on the back end of their career as opposed to the first 20 years. So that, I think, is going to help us financially as well as be a more effective recruiting tool for us. And so from my point of view, that's the biggest change. There are a few other items that the chief has about, withholding cars and things like that, but I'll let him articulate that if it's okay, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, and what was the original? So it's 20 and out. What was the original?
So right now, it's 25 years, but you cannot collect until you're 52 years old. So Officer Sylvester, I'll use him as an example. I hired him at 19. In order for him to retire, his last 3 years would be his highest 3. If we went at 28 and out, he could retire at 39. He would hold down a position for this city for, think about it, close to 30 years. Not very many openings, not a lot of movement. The academy numbers are dwindling. People really don't want to do this job anymore, to be honest. The governor is even adding incentives to give people from out of state a $5,000 bonus just to come here to be a law enforcement officer. So we are extremely fortunate with the staff that we have. We've got great folks that work with us. They're our family. And 20 and out in this day and age with all that's being thrust upon us is a huge, not just a recruiting tool, it's a great retention tool as well. So I think that was the biggest one. There were a couple of minor other changes that the union was very amenable to. They didn't come in asking for raises. They came in wanting to make some pension reforms. Now I have the ability, if you all approve this, to utilize the vehicle take-home program in the disciplinary process, where if an officer does make a mistake, I can basically ground their car for up to 45 work days, which hadn't been incorporated. And they didn't balk at it. They understand that I'm fair and even-tempered and try to run my shop as clean to get people to comply. So a couple other things that were in there had to do with tuition reimbursement, getting it turned in a timely manner so that they can be reimbursed. And Mr. Whitson and Drew did a great job, as did the folks over at IUPA.
Just to add a little bit more, it was, as Chief said, very, very cordial negotiation session this time. There weren't any big points of disagreement. Most of with the exception of the pension changes, almost everything else that was discussed was more cleanup administrative. To add a couple more, there was a cap put on the amount of how much not administrative leave, but what's the
comp time?
The comp time.
Yeah, compensatory time leave, how much they could accrue of that. Obviously, it is earned time, so they're going to get paid, but this helps the city keep its books better, so you don't have a whole lot of comp time accrued for an officer, which can create some staffing problems for management. So that issue cleaned out some things that are just outdated in your equipment, your vehicle equipment list. But with the exception of the negotiations around the pension issue, all very smooth and really just clean up items this year.
Okay, so we got administrative items, the car list. You have the 20 and out, comp time, the car program, the take-home program, and tuition reimbursement changes. Is there any other changes to it outside of just small stuff?
Well, there's the reporting if the staff gets to not work from the office and are told not to work from home.
That's not new.
That's not new. That was
you did it this year, but we did that one back in early in. You did.
We said it had to be part of this negotiations.
We put it in.
Not the way I recall it, but okay. Not new.
It was new, but now it's not.
Sort of new.
New is a relative term.
What other notes you got, Jane?
Well, I ran.
I see some red in there.
I ran through it with Drew and we corrected, or I got to understand everything else. I think.
Commissioner Manley?
Yes.
I remember that
that. It was approved, remember, it was a percentage of regular employees had to be out for it to apply to them.
I remember the discussion in the meeting. I just didn't remember how it worked out. I'm okay.
Okay. Commissioners or Mayor, any other comments?
No.
Y'all are serious about going for a record, aren't you? All right, if there's no other comments, I'll look for a motion.
Make a motion that we approve ordinance 2021-11.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I'll open this up, public comment. Any members of the public wish to speak on ordinance 2021-11? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Penny, if you could roll call.
Commissioner Mealy?
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips?
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan?
Yes.
Commissioner Belhumeur?
Yes.
Chair Cooley?
Yes, the motion. Motion passes unanimous. Item 14, ordinance 2021-13. Drew?
Ordinance number 2021-13, an ordinance of the City of Flagler Beach, Florida, authorizing the conveyance by deed of certain city-owned property consisting of lots 7 through 22 of Block 12 of the Model Land Company subdivision and a portion of Block 16 of the Gold Coast subdivision to the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners, providing for conflicts and establishing an effective date.
Okay, and city manager, is this you or Commissioner Belhumeur? Are you taking it?
No, just have it. No, let the city manager start for sure.
It's, this is basically an item that was brought to my attention when I came on board as kind of leftover business that needed to be cleaned up. And so I worked with Penny to, put together the appropriate paperwork. I guess the county insists if they're going to give us some property that they get something, was the basic tenet here. And this was the agreement that was worked out. And with that, if Commissioner Belhumeur or Penny has additional details, that's basically my level of understanding, is that this was a cleanup item that needed to be addressed.
This is really only half of it though, right? We've still got something coming back from the county
This is,
similar to this.
you will not approve that because.
Well, I get that,
Yes,
but we
this
have
is-
something coming.
We give, we get.
Right.
And that is the whole deal, yes. There, and you have, if you look at the warranty deed that's attached for information. Right, you see the where, in the witnesses clause, grantor for and in consideration of real property conveyed by deed from the grantee to the grantor.
Right.
So actually, when this actually closes, there will be deeds going both ways.
It's kind of in the soup already there.
The consideration for us giving a deed is us getting a deed, and that's what that witnesses clause.
And the main reason that we're doing this, or Larry, approached the county to ask, was because we learned that part of our fuel depots actually on county property, and wanted to do some repairs over there, and saw the opportunity to spread our wings a little bit there behind the police station and the million-gallon tank, the fire station, and a little beyond. So, well, it's actually not behind a police station, but it's quite a good chunk of land that could be utilized for storage and lay down yards for projects going on, which we've been doing anyway, but.
I think it's a very positive cleanup action. Again, we can, the fact that we would have a clean deed helps us in a grant situation as well. So that's another good reason to do it.
So glad we finally got to this point, and we can do what we need with that property. That's all I have to say.
So the title searches have been completed. We did that through Coast Title, and the county has to do this by resolution. Our charter required us to do it by ordinance, and closing will be after November 14th.
Very good.
All right, commissioners or mayor, comments on this item? I had a comment on the item. We vacate property. I don't understand the need to give them property in order. Is that something they requested, Or is that, I just, if they don't need it, cities vacate property, counties vacate property, that's common. Why would we be doing it this way? It doesn't make any sense to me.
My understanding was this is the county policy in dealing with other jurisdictions, and again, we can certainly ask, but I guess by tradition, this is how they've handled things.
That was the explanation I got from Larry back in the beginning. He asked for it to be gifted, but then he was given this as an option to that.
And it's not that, I don't want to sound greedy or anything, but I'm looking at the plot, and we're giving them this land that is completely surrounded by Flagler Beach. It's odd to have county plots of land like right in the middle of the city.
It will still be your jurisdiction. They will just be the landowner. It will still be City of Flagler Beach. It's not like it's being de-annexed.
Right.
It's just being sold. They're just the property owner.
And they do own the adjoining properties around there. It's my understanding it'll be part of the Greenway. And in the future, we may need to use that as mitigation for another project. So it could benefit us.
Okay, that's valid.
That's what I assumed it was mitigation. The property could be used for mitigation in the future.
I don't have any other comments. Any other comments? None?
I'll make a motion that we approve 2021-13.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I'll open this up to public comment. Any members of the public wish to speak on ordinance 2021-13? Again, come on up. Please state your name and address.
Hello, Mark Blythe. I just have a quick question because I've been trying to follow along with this. So a piece of property will now be the property of the county as opposed to being the property of the city of Flagler Beach, which is surrounded by property of the city of Flagler Beach. Is that correct?
It's within the City of Flagler Beach. I think what Penny just said, you said it's surrounded by property owned by the county. So it's actually enlarging the chunk of county-owned land in that area.
Okay, so just as a question, kind of out of the blue for all of us to consider, is it possible then that they could rezone that property or the use of that property?
It is conservation. It's wetlands. It's not buildable.
And again, remains in the city's jurisdiction.
Correct.
Change of ownership is not change of jurisdiction.
Or the use of the property?
Correct.
The governing body that controls the zoning for that property is still the City of Flagler Beach, not the county.
You can have this if you'd like. This is
Eric, could you just explain a little bit to me, since I haven't looked at it, just quickly, just give me the 2-minute assessment. What was it you saw that bothered you? I mean, because that was a very good comment you made, and I was just trying to follow along with it.
Well,
obviously, if it's in the city and it now goes under county control, hey, that's a good question, right? I understand that there's a policy with the county where, we deed, they deed, okay, that might be a handshake that goes back God knows how many years, right? But what was your concern?
I didn't understand the rationale for the barter versus them just vacating the property that we had a need for. We have equipment on their property, so we asked for it. And we asked for them to give it to us. They came back and said, we'll give you that property, but we want, this property in exchange. Once it was, all explained out that it's part of that greenway, and it makes sense. And it's not usable land, but the rationale behind them just giving it up and wanting something else.
Is it basically a wetland that we're talking about? Could it
Yeah,
be used
this
as a
isn't a-
mitigation bank? Is it going to, I'm just asking the question with ignorance here, so I apologize if I'm covering old territory, but that was, I understand now what you're doing. Thank you.
Yeah. Here, you can have this, Mark, if you want it.
Basically, we're trading dry land for wetland.
That's what they want. This is what we're giving them. Or that's what we're getting. All right. Any other members of the public wish to speak on this agenda item? Seeing no one, we'll close public comment. Penny, if you could roll call.
Commissioner Phillips.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan.
Yeah.
Commissioner Bellhumor.
Yes.
Commissioner Mealy.
Yes.
Chair Cooley.
Yes to the motion. Motion passes unanimous. All right, commission comments, Mayor.
I don't have anything this week. The only thing I had is we had a international coastal cleanup on Saturday. It was a success. And it was sponsored by Friends of A1A. And it was a great turnout. Tons of volunteers, stretched all the way up our coast. So hats off to them for organizing that for our city. Thank you. And that was all I had.
Okay, Commissioner Bryan.
Yeah, I had a couple of comments I was going to comment on, but I spoke to the city manager earlier, and he made comment on them later. And one of them had to do with the Flagler Beach Centennial. I was addressing whether or not we had budgeted anything at all for that, because it's going to be coming up. And again, I go back to long-term planning, making sure that we have something in place before it creeps up on us. And he explained that there were some dollars in there for that particular thing going forward. Also, I was going to bring up parking for Flagler Beach, because I think it's something that we're going to have to talk about sooner or later. We keep kicking it around and talking about it, and nothing happens. But he also encouraged me that too would be coming up in the very near future. So I'm not going to comment on that. The monument in Veterans Park, that was an item I was going to talk about. The city manager, I think, is also going to comment on that, because he shared some ideas that he had, as well as thoughts with one of another commissioners here. So that was something that was coming up as far as trying to have it in place by Veterans Day, so that we can have a nice celebration for that, if possible. And he's also indicating that we're going to have some encryption that the donor on the monument's going to participate in, as far as moving forward with that in Veterans Park. The other thing I'd like to report on is that Lowe's Home, what do you call them? Lowe's Home. Home Improvement. I have a meeting with them tomorrow, the general manager, as well as two of his managers, and they're actually going to meet me here in Veterans Park, and we're going to look at the benches. They're very excited about possibly sponsoring the program for us, providing the materials, or at least a great chunk of the materials, as well as help. So it's a project that I'm hoping that will materialize tomorrow, and have a great report on that. Home Depot is also working with me, and they've identified some recycled product that could conceivably be used, and they're researching with one of their companies the product that could be adequate for what we need out here as well. As far as the cigarette butt receptacles, I was out of town last week, so it kind of they're still sitting beside my house. But my wife and I are starting to put the stickers on them so that they'll be ready to go. Meeting with a few folks over the weekend, so that we can carve out some times and dates when we can actually start installing them. And things are moving ahead, so that's about all I have.
Well, let me know when you do get started on it. I got some cordless screw guns. And,
awesome.
Be
I'll let everyone know. I have 3 cordless screw guns, Mr. City Manager.
I like it. All right, Commissioner.
That's all I have.
all right, in the interest of time and trying to beat this world record, I really just wanted to move forward with this monument language, and everybody got a copy from Penny, I believe, of what we really came up with was in honor of the dedication, sacrifice, and valor of our United States veterans, past, present, and future. So that was the language that we came up with. I thought that when we added United States veterans, that pretty much encompasses all, so it doesn't really need to say all. I'd like the fact that the word our United States veterans. There was some thoughts of adding in families somehow to that, but with the words that are being used, especially valor, it kind of disqualifies, not disqualifies, but it kind of takes the family's part out of it.
Yeah, it doesn't apply.
And I know there was some some lines with fallen heroes in there, and not to minimize their sacrifice, but you don't need to be a fallen hero to still be a veteran.
Right.
So that's the language that myself and the donor came up with, and hopefully, well, and with some help from William and Ken, I believe is a little piece from here and a little piece from there. So hopefully you guys we can reach a consensus on the language. And I checked back in my email and I sent it to William. There's no way on earth we're going to make Veterans Day, because they're talking about a 3 to 6 months?
4 to 6 months.
4 to 6
just to
months.
get the granite
Just to get
cut.
the granite
To get the granite cut
out of the
quarry,
quarry.
and then you have to have it engraved. It's not the engraving that takes the time; it's the cutting of the monument.
So that's where we stand on that. So I
Well, it'll
guess
be brand new for Memorial Day then.
whenever it's done, we'll do it.
So
So
the time frame, is that from one company or is that what y'all are hearing from multiple companies?
No,
Because
it's-
that seems excessive.
may or may not be. I haven't gone around to different places, but we can certainly still do that. But we need to come up with what we're going to write on it.
Do you want to get a consensus of that today?
I think it's a good idea, and then the city manager can pull the trigger if we find somebody who can do it quicker.
Okay, can you just read it one more time for everybody?
In honor of the dedication, sacrifice, and valor of our United States veterans, past, present, and future.
Okay, feedback?
I like it.
We have a consensus?
I like it.
There you
Sounds
go.
great.
We have a consensus.
Okay? All right. That's it?
That's it? Commissioner Mealy?
Also in the interest of time,
Not that there's any pressure.
Yeah, we're doing pretty good on that.
just this one thing I wanted to bring up. Being a member of the Utilities and Natural Resources Legislative Policy Committee from the League of Cities, I received an email from the lobbyist in charge, Rebecca O'Hara. University of Florida and the Department of Environmental Protection are doing a survey on disposable plastic bags, auxiliary materials, and wrappings. It's a short survey. It's interesting, like, would you be okay if stores stopped providing plastic bags? Or how many, it was very easy to do. I did it. It's like 10 questions. So I was thinking they were asking if we could ask our citizens to complete this survey. So if I could forward this if you're all in agreement, that I forward this to Penny and she posted on the website, or we send it out to the people that get emails from the city. Maybe that would be better, because I don't know how often people just check the website, but if the people who get the notices about the meetings, maybe they would spread it around. It's a really easy, less than 10-minute survey.
So how would it work? Would we essentially?
It just goes through them. We don't have
Okay, I
any.
got you.
You click on this link.
The Survey Monkey or something.
Yeah, it's something. There's a link.
Just click on a hyperlink, takes you right to it.
It's run by UF.
Cool.
They click on the link and we don't have to do anything.
Okay, so there's a question about consensus of sending that out to citizens. How do y'all feel about that?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Everybody's good with that? We have Mayor? You good? All right, you got consensus?
Good. I'll send it to Penny and I'll put it on top so I don't forget.
Is that it?
I'm done.
All right.
The rest is.
The one who talks the least is going to talk the most now.
Uh-oh, there
So
goes the
sorry,
meeting.
Sorry. So I have a two-park update. The first update is WIC line. On September 11th, we had our kids zone. We had 8 children and their parents meet us at Wickline to just visually see what the park looks like today. Our fire department came, which was great. All the kids got to climb on the fire truck and have a really good time. We then took the meeting to Sunbros Cafe, and we had the children draw out their ideal park, which they did.
And they got really good chocolate chip cookies.
And they got really good chocolate chip cookies. And I want to do a shout out to the fire department and Sunbros Cafe for providing the cookies and anything anybody wanted to drink. They did a really nice job. So, and then on Monday, this past Monday, Chuck Salvo, Shelley Bowen, and myself met with a company who produces or distributes playground equipment in Bunnell. They're called Furniture Leisure. They're going to do a pricing pro forma for us to see kind of what this, because I just really need to understand what this is going to cost. But they can't move forward until I provide them with what the measurements are of the park. So I'm waiting for Lee to get back because he's doing a survey to see if we can make the park a little bit bigger. I will tell you the biggest theme during the meeting with the children was they want water. They want a splash pad. They want, they want water at the park, which costs money.
Tell me,
I know,
it's going to cost their allowance.
I know,
quite a bit
I know,
of it.
exactly. So I talked to William, and it's something we can, keep on the table. We just have to figure out how much this is going to cost and the logistics to provide plumbing, if that's something that we move forward with. It's a grant that we're going to be applying for between October 1st and is it the 15th?
Yes, ma'am. The paperwork is being circulated. Spoke to Casey right before the meeting.
Okay.
And he sat on a briefing call with the FERDAP agency, and we also had other staff sitting on the call. So we're going to gather the paperwork and see if we can meet the minimum score. You have to meet a minimum score and provide some data and information, to be able to take the next step. So we're going to do that assessment as soon as we can. And hopefully we'll be able to move forward, but it's a pretty fast-moving train.
Right.
Is it based on numbers? Number of kids, for example, or?
No, it's not based on that, although I'm sure that will have, a criteria associated with it down the road. I think they really look for, the quality of the amenity and, the need and things like that. So
You have a lot of tourists.
yeah, we will count them all.
Exactly, absolutely. So it's been a fun process to date, but obviously a lot more work to happen.
I like the Fairyland one.
I know. So we talked about at the last commission meeting about renaming the park, and I loved what Chief had said, potentially calling it something, like one little girl said Fairyland at Wickline Park. So people really do know if the commission is okay with it, and we'll vote later on about renaming it in some sort of fashion. So we also talked about theming the park. We're probably going to be doing something for all of our first responders, police, fire, and then incorporating a lot of fun colors as well into the park. And I can share with you the drawings of everybody at some point. It was fun. I just didn't bring it today.
I stopped by Sunbros.
And then Jane,
it was
thank
really
you to
cute.
Commissioner for stopping by. It was fun. The second park update is Pell Parker Park. We've not talked about Pell Parker Park in a while. Here you go, Drew. Everybody wants to grab a copy. This week, via Zoom, we met with Florida Communities Trust, Mott McDonald, Mr. Whitson, Penny, and myself to talk about, moving forward with this. Mr. Whitson had Bruce New from Mott McDonald do another conceptual site plan, which the FCT is in agreement with a few minor things we're going to talk about on September 29th when we meet them at the park. So the park's going to be changed. We're changing things a little bit. It's going to obviously be a more passive park. So if everybody kind of looks down at the bottom where it says bike rack, so there's going to be a nature trail off of Daytona.
Cheers.
Oh, sorry. So there's a nature trail that you will walk. So you're not going to drive necessarily down Lakeshore Drive. We're not sure about that ADA pad yet. We thought, because there's concerns with the residents that live on Lakeshore Drive, they don't want people to come to this park and disrupt them. So We might have an ADA pad, ADA parking at the end of Lakeshore Drive. That's still being worked on, but really people are just going to have to park on South of Daytona if they come to the park. We're going to have a canoe launch. We're going to have an observation boardwalk, and then a wild observation platform for people to walk out on as well. As after the meeting, I found out that we have to have a playground and a pavilion, which will be right probably somewhere near the sign, the Pale Parker sign.
Okay.
Which I wasn't crazy about, but to keep the grant, we potentially have to do some sort of a small
So that
playground.
would be off Daytona then?
Plus, that'll be off Daytona.
And the playground there doesn't have to be extravagant. It
Right.
can be a simple
Swings.
a kit where you buy the kit swing sets, you know, and have maintenance put it together, have the wood, maybe take some square 4x4 post and router the edges down to make them round so the kids won't get splinters or something.
Sort of
I mean,
what-
it doesn't have to be extravagant,
Okay.
like you're talking about at Wick.
Right, at Wick Line, exactly. And then we're going to have it has to have a covered pavilion so people can sit there as well, kind of enjoy nature.
You could have a mulch floor, it doesn't have to be a concrete pad, and
Right.
not extravagant. They want to keep it natural. It's a natural park, it's a natural preservation, so we want to keep it as natural as possible.
Right, exactly. So the really only parking will be some sort of an ADA pad somewhere in the park, whether it's going to be at the end of Lake Shore or possibly someplace else. So hopefully after our meeting next week, we'll have more information, and then once we approve this, we can put it out for bid.
Okay, so Steve Scott's house is here?
Correct. Yeah, and
What
I'm
I'll-
meeting with that group this coming Sunday.
Debbie, what I'll do tomorrow is when I speak to the Lowe's general manager, they had talked about doing more. So I'll see if they want to expand that to possibly a pavilion or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be terrific.
And
That'd be
I'll also
great.
talk to Home Depot.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. There'll be like interpretive kiosks, project signs, so it's not going to be the plan that we had originally, that we'd have this, you know, nature trail off of Daytona, you know, going straight in. So now it's really just going to be this nature trail to the north.
I had a comment about the parking. There was some things said that bother me a little bit. Lakeshore Drive is not a private drive, that is a public street.
That's correct.
And it doesn't make any sense to put an ADA pad a block away from the center of where all the activity is in the park. I understand that Lakeshore Drive residents don't want to be overrun with cars, but they also need to understand that that is a public road that folks are allowed to park on. And that previously has not always been understood by residents on Lakeshore Drive.
That's correct.
And so, and this is just me talking, I would have a problem with putting an ADA pad an exceptionally long distance away from where the center of the park is, just because they don't want to see anybody parking there.
Right. Was that FCT though that came up with or was it Mont McDonald that came up with the ADA pad requirement where it is on Lakeshore Drive?
It was Mont McDonald because it has to comply with ADA. It's a federal regulation. It has to go with its money, so you have to put it somewhere. And so that was part of the Mont McDonald
Where
design.
is the ADA pad?
It's
going?
right there
Oh, the yellow.
by the yellow.
Okay.
Kind of right by Mr. Scott's house.
As it should be.
Right. We're not saying it's going to be changed. We're just going to be, when FCT comes out next week, we want them to visually see, is that really the best place for the ADA pad?
Okay.
So it's not set in stone that that's where it's going to be.
And I would just be very realistic with the residents around there that cars, you'll get a car or two that are going to park there.
Yep, absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
and they have every right to.
Yep.
Unlike before where folks were getting chased off for parking on a public street.
Right. Nope, understood.
I have to agree because that was one of the bones of contention with the Powell Park in the first place. When I first started taking a tour down, there were residents that were opposing it because they didn't want people coming down the street or parking near their property. You know, I find that problematic as well.
Yeah.
Well, I might as well put my 2 cents worth in, too. I found it problematic as well from the very beginning when this guy asked me why I was walking on his property when I was on city property. So there's plenty of room to park to the, let's see, I guess that would be the east side of Lakeshore Drive as you progress down through there. And so the parking pad is still the yellow dot?
Yeah, that's the 88.
Well, that is in the middle of it.
I think I mentioned that there's,
But you were talking about possibly moving it down here where the green block is?
Possibly, we're going to talk
Yeah,
about
that's, I wouldn't be in favor of that either. Somebody have to travel a quarter mile in a wheelchair to get to where they want to look at something. So, but progress is good, so.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we've had this money on the table
I just
for
hope
way
we
too
don't end
long,
up with
so-
another park that has no place for anybody to park.
Right. The other 2 things I had, I attended the mayor lunch. Also, I want to give a shout out to our mayor. She did a great job of introducing Flagler Beach to everybody and answering everybody's questions. And then I also attended the museum's Moonrise event. As I mentioned before, I'm on the event committee, so a lot of work went into getting that done. And it was very successful, and the museum obviously made some good money. We got to keep the lights on.
all right, I don't have anything. Drew?
A couple of things. One, just another mind your P's and Q's from things I've seen recently at other meetings. Tuesday night at one of my council meetings, I had a staff member come up to me afterwards. I did not see any of this occur, but there was somebody not from the community, just somebody from outside. Nobody knew who they were, apparently with their cell phone, sitting quietly, not causing a disruption, but videotaping the meeting, which obviously they're allowed to do. The staff member who came up to me, what she was really reporting to me was that apparently she had been doing something on her phone, and around the same time that she put her phone down, the mayor picked his phone up, and so that person came up to her after the meeting and said, I would like to send the text that you sent to the mayor. She said, that you sent to the mayor. She said, I didn't send a text to the mayor because it was a coincidence. She had not been texting the mayor.
But it looks bad.
Honestly, it was a staff member. I don't even know what to tell you, but just be aware that there appears to be groups out there that are starting to just go to meetings. Again, this was not somebody from the community. It was somebody from outside looking for problems. So mind your P's and Q's. Keep being aware of appearances. What does it look like? Be mindful of how you're operating online, on chats, on any of those things, that we may be ramping back up into a cycle where there are the watchdog groups that are looking for a reason to make an issue somewhere. So just keep minding your P's and Q's. I know you all do. The second is I just wanted to mention on the questions from your workshop on Monday, the leaky questions, they have been passed along to me. If any of you have any specific concerns, questions, comments, reach out to me directly and we can have a conversation so I can understand where anybody's individual concerns were. But I am working on it, and I promised Mr. Woodson that I'd try to get him a memo next week, kind of giving you a general outline of the issues that go into non-conforming structures, because that's what we're really talking about is non-conforming structures. And I know you have the charter provision that creates the wrinkles, so I'm looking at that too. But that's it.
All right.
Got a question for Drew.
Question for Drew.
What is it we still have that we're litigating with with the golf course property?
You don't anymore. That's the one that was going through. We had the state court action, went all the way to the state Supreme Court. Then they refiled, or they filed a new action, not refiled, but filed a new action in federal court. Their argument being that, well, this is a federal claim, the other one was a state claim. The city's argument all along was that you don't get that second bite at the apple. The federal district court ruled in favor of the city, dismissed the claim. That went up to the 11th Circuit, federal circuit, on appeal, and it was July, because it was when I was at FMAA and Cliff was here, and I'd sent him with the report that the 11th Circuit had upheld the district court. So short of an appeal to the Supreme Court, it should be done now, because they only have one left and they have not filed that appeal to my knowledge. So it should now be done, but it was done as of July.
But,
And that's what I,
yeah, but the invoice came in, I think.
that's what I
and we-
thought, okay.
Oh, well, remember that, I don't, not my invoice, but law firms, remember, we're billing month behind usually.
I
We're
get
billing you
that.
for last month's work.
But what it says in our background says litigation involving Ocean Palm continues. So that's what made me ask that question.
Gotcha.
So we are done, like I thought we were.
Short of an appeal to the Supreme Court, short of some other argument they can find to keep moving it, to keep on bringing it back. But
Okay.
yes, we have survived 3 trials just since I've been the city attorney and 5 layers of appeal.
All right, city manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, it's done unless somebody else opens up that can of worms. I just want to give you a very brief update. This will be on your next agenda, the American Rescue Act. We're going to move quickly now to finalize our action plan. I want to compliment all of the citizens that stepped up and businesses that served on that group. We had a very, very good discussion, and we have the plan coming together. This is a rough draft. We're finalizing it, and it's going to come forward. It'll outline all of the things that we can expend the funds for to help the city get in a better place. And one of the things I'm pretty excited about is the business mini grant program. If you approve it, we would basically, for lack of a better term, block grant funds to a local nonprofit, and then they would help us jointly administer the program to businesses. So details of that coming in the plan, and I'm very excited about it, and I think it'll be good for the city and good for our local businesses. And that's it. That's all I have.
Wow. Penny.
I'm stunned. Yeah, I don't have anything. I think your next regular meeting, I'll be on vacation, so you'll have the pleasure of Janelle.
And Penny, I had a question for you. I think we're still needing another reading on the ordinance for the procedure changes for the meeting. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. So there's deadlines for the newspaper. It has to be advertised 10 days in advance of second reading. So, and the deadlines for the newspaper, they don't coincide. So I ended up to have to skip a meeting. And we have this extra little bit, a longer period with the end of the month in November, so.
Okay.
In October.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to skip over.
Not forgotten, it's already been advertised, I've already done it, it's just I can't run it until the 14th.
Got it. And that's all you had?
Thank you.
All right. Chief?
Mr. O'Connor's house on the south end is almost done, so. Party at his house.
All right. It's been a long time coming.
Okay, who's got the stopwatch? Motion to adjourn.
All right.
Second.
We're adjourned.
It happens occasionally.
Nice.
Don't count on it being too often.
Okay. She got home 3 weeks ago, immediately crashed. I went back for a week. Okay. Crashed.
Cool, I was just